All right, today we are going to show you how to set up a Behringer PPA500 standalone portable PA system along with the speaker stands. So we have here, we've got our speaker cables, we've got our power cable, we've got an audio cable from a computer to the system, and we've got the microphone XLR and the microphone. So those are the cables and peripherals you're gonna need. And we have one speaker stand here. I'm not gonna set up all of them. And then this is our system right here. Let's see, first step is what we're gonna do is not touch this at all. We're going to set up our speaker stand. The first thing we do is loosen this if it was tightened at all. And then you're just gonna be able to kind of pull that out like that. And you want about this kind of angle down here. Let's pull back and see. It can go out a little further than that, but that's probably good enough to give you the stability you need. Once you get it where it needs to be, give this just finger tight. Do not crank down on that. Okay, and then the next thing you're gonna do is loosen this one up, make sure that this slides up and down. Okay, and then we're going to go over here and take apart the PA system. All right, so the PA system has these three hasps on here that keep it together. They break very easily, so be careful with them. They're just made of plastic, but they've got a button on here, so you just press that button and then they kind of like flip up. You can see that they've got a plastic lip on them that holds them in. So we'll just do that. All right, once you have them unhasped, then you're gonna just give a light pull from here like that, and you'll see that it starts to slide out. All right, and once it's slid out, then you can grab it by the top. And I'm trying to do this one-handed while I film, but it's kind of hard. And then you'll see down at the bottom here, there's these little tusks that go into some grooves. So all right, I have it separated now, so you can see the tusk right there. And it kind of goes into this groove over here. And when you set it back in, you just kind of gently set it on there, and it wants to slide right back in. Okay, now you have your speaker in hand, and you're going to bring it over here and set it down on top of this post. There's a hole in the bottom. You can see it over there. Slide it forward. Voila, ta-da. And once it's down, then you go over here and you grab your hand underneath it on that pole that'll slide up, and you'll slide it up to the right height. Now you want it to be generally above people's heads. All right, when I paused that there, what I did was I took this pin over here, it's hanging on here, and I slid it through one of these holes down here. Don't rely on this, all right? These strip out really easily, so don't, basically just don't use that. Use the pin, and then it'll be at the right height for you. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to put one of our, we're gonna set up the PA here. All right, so it lays flat on its back when it's being transported, and then you're just gonna come over here, pick it up, and set it up like that, somewhere nice and stable. And then we're going to plug in our power cord right here. All right, you'll notice that I had all of these cables here are wound up nicely. So that's how you should do your cables too. Take this, and this goes in the back. There's three things that go in the back. The power cable goes right back there. Give it a little push so it's nice and snug, and then plug it in. All right, once it's plugged in, you'll see that there's also a switch back here. This is the on position like that. This is off. You'll know it's on. There's you'll hear a fan running in the back here. Also, you'll see that the lights are on here. If I switch it off, power goes, or the lights go down. So I'm actually going to switch it off when I plug in the speaker cables, because if you touch a speaker cable to the speaker and connect it to the amp, if there's any sort of noise or signal that's going through that you're not aware of, it can be very loud. So we always would turn it off while we're setting it up. All right, so we got our speaker cable here. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set it up. We're gonna plug it into the speaker itself, and it goes right in the front of the speaker, right there. You got to make sure that it's pushed in all the way. It's kind of easy to just put it in a little bit. It's got to go all the way until it goes click. Well, it doesn't really make a loud click, but a little bit. Then you're going to take this cable here and you're going to wrap it around here. Okay, you see that I've wound it around the post of the speaker stand, and that's so that it doesn't snag if someone walks past it. It doesn't get caught on anything, so that's just good safety practice. And you take the rest of it over here. You're gonna not need to uncoil this one all the way. And this goes in the back. This is what trips up people all the time. They try to plug it in the front. This goes in the back, and just remember, this one we're putting in the left, so we remember that speaker is our left speaker. It doesn't matter how you plug it in, just remember which speaker's pointing where. Okay, now we've got the speaker plugged in. I'm not gonna do both of them because it's the same process. I'm gonna flip the switch, or actually, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure my levels are down. All right, all of these down here, the bottom one here are all levels. So make sure that they're all down, so that way when you turn it on, it doesn't hit someone with feedback inadvertently. All right, cool, now it's on. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to hook up my microphone and cable. Now you'll notice that when I have it stored here, I don't have the microphone connected to the cable. There's a reason for that. The cables last a lot longer and they won't get as damaged if they don't have a big heavy microphone attached to it. Okay, so I've attached the microphone to the microphone cable, and then I'm gonna take this, and this is called an XLR cable, and then plug it into channel 1. Now this is channel 1 right here, is all this right here, not this, this is the equalizer, and then this down here. This is channel 2, goes up like that, channel 3, 4, and then that connects down here. Now it's called 3, 4 because you've got 3, 4, or 3, 4, depending if you're using RCA, which is the red and white, or this TRS, which we also call 1/4 inch. And so these, the same thing right down here. I know it looks complicated, but it's just kind of the same stuff the whole way. And 5, 6. Now, if you're gonna connect with Bluetooth, this is for your music. You'll just press and hold the Bluetooth button until it starts flashing blue, and then it's discoverable as Behringer PPA500, and then just connect to that. Or you can use the old-fashioned, you can plug in your cables here into 5, 6, and then plug this into your computer. Just make sure that when you do plug these things in that your levels are down. All right, and then I'm gonna see if I can turn that off. I don't think I can. All right, the next thing you need to see are these are your main volumes. You've got a right and a left. So one goes to your left speaker and one goes to your right speaker. So if you're in a space that has, maybe one speaker is facing to a big outdoor area, and the other's for like a small indoor room. So then you turn your indoor room down a bit and you'd make sure that your outdoor one was higher. So just make sure that you're aware that if someone's saying, I can't hear very well, just make sure that your mains are where they want to be. But generally, if you're in a single space, you're going to want to keep them about there. You never want your dials to be pegged out. You get bad sound quality and it's taxing the system. So always try to keep things kind of in the middle if you can. And then, so we've got our mic level always means volume. Make sure that your pan, which is right and left, pan should be in the center. FX should be down all the way. We don't do FX here. And then your voice will, if you've got a low register, you're gonna wanna turn your treble up and your bass down. If you have a high voice, you might wanna have it a little more centered. That's something that you can adjust to your liking, to your voice. And once you're in, you're gonna turn your mic up a little bit, not a lot, and then you'll do a mic check, right, over here. Check, 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 sounds good. And that is how you set up the PPA500BT, the BT stands for Bluetooth. One other note here, if you ever press one of these down, you do that, and then you try to talk into the microphone, you get nothing, it won't work, all right? It's a pad, it basically silences that channel. So if you're talking into the microphone and you're like, nothing's happening, the microphone's on, but it's not working, check to make sure that pad should be in the out position, otherwise it'll silence it. Those are the things. You don't have to mess with the equalizer, really. And you don't have to mess with the effects. We're not doing karaoke here. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, just do it all in reverse when it's time to break down.